Hello everyone, my name is Fox. In this video we're going to be reviewing the latest glasses from the Viture team, their Viture Pro XRs. Thank you very much to the Viture team for sending them out to me for review. These are the new ones. You can tell by the orange accent logo that's right here as opposed to the chrome one that's right there. They also have chrome accents on the hinges as well as the edges, and this has a far more muted look to it, which is something that I prefer. There are other colorways available. They have like an all-white model if that was something that you were looking for. I actually like the design of these a whole bunch. Now, before we get too far into this review, there's a few things that I want to make clear here. This video is not sponsored. Viture team has not paid me any money to say anything about any of their devices that they want me to talk about here. What that means to you is that the Viture team has had no oversight. There is no editorial of anything that they have said about this particular video, meaning everything that you're going to hear in this video are my opinions, completely unfiltered. When this video goes live, it'll be the first time that the Viture team sees it as well. So with that out of the way, I just want to make it clear, we're going to be talking about three things in this video. Up first, obviously, is the Viture Pro glasses. They are much better than their predecessors, so we'll be talking about that. Number two is they have a new mobile dock, and that can be told by the orange accents that are on the back as well as here. They do sell a plastic adapter that goes on the Steam Deck. They have one for the Switch as well. If you were worried about this relatively large battery, like coming off of this thing, really secure on here, so you don't really have to worry about anyone moving it around or up and around or anything. It's not coming off. It's very secure on there. There's a few things that I want to talk about on, like why we actually need this. It is really important when we think about this particular device in a lot of different ways. It's kind of a shortcoming for the all XR glasses, and it has to do more with handhelds, the more popular handhelds like the Steam Deck, the Switch, and the Asus ROG Ally. All three of those only have a single USB-C port, which is not ideal. We'll talk more about that in just a second. The third thing that they want me to talk about is they have a collab with 8BitDo, and this is very much like a Switch Pro controller. There really isn't much to talk about here. If you've purchased any 8BitDo controller that was your Switch Pro controller likes, largely you've already know what this is like. The particular colorway that they have here is the limited edition part of it, and if you bought a Steam Deck OLED limited edition, they share a lot of semblance to one another, and it looks really cool side by side. So if you really cared about having the aesthetic match with a controller, that's an angle that you can go in. But because it's like a Switch Pro controller, the analog triggers are digital and not analog, so that may be a deal breaker for a lot of people. They're very good controllers that 8BitDo makes, but they have some considerations to think about. So that's pretty much all that there is to do with that. Let's go ahead and start talking about their XR glasses and going through each point of the new parts that are updated here. First, we're going to be talking about the newer displays on here, which are larger. Now, the marketing side from this is where things get really kind of muddy, because how all of these XR glasses want to kind of communicate to you is that it's like a 120-inch screen from 10 feet away. That's what the predecessors are like. Now that with these larger screens, they're saying it's like a 135-inch screen from 10 feet away. And the reality is, because it's 1080p and how you're looking at it, it really feels more, well, the predecessors felt like a 24-inch monitor from 2 feet away, and these feel like a 25-inch monitor from 2 feet away. That's still really awesome, and it's really hard, right? There's a lot of things that are hard to talk about reviewing these XR glasses. They're hard in two ways. Number one is, how do I properly record this to show to you how they look? It's nearly impossible. Even if I had fantastic equipment, you would still be seeing what these displays look like through your display, whatever you're watching this on. So it's not even going to be what this looks like. So I can only tell you how good they look. And the second part is that to conceptualize how you will use this, they're not cheap, right? They are a luxury. So where are you going to use this, and how often are you going to use this? So there's things to think about. We'll get into that part later on in this video in terms of how I can recommend them. Let's go ahead and talk about other features that are on the XR glasses. Part of going to the new displays is going from 60 Hz to 120 Hz. This has been available on other competing products for a bit, so it's good that the Viture Pro models are there now. And this is a definite benefit. It does require more horsepower to drive it. So if whatever handheld you have to be able to hit 120 FPS in any game that you're going to be doing, it's going to devour more power to hit that. So it's still probably wise to do something of a less frame rate, unless it's like an indie game that's not going to be taking very much horsepower as it is. So just keep that in mind when you're thinking about running these glasses at high frame rates, that it's not something that is free. The displays are also much brighter. This is really impressive from multiple angles. So the one thing that I might actually just make a chapter point of this, when we talk about brightness on the panels themselves, on the new Viture Pros, they are considerably brighter compared to their predecessor, and something that I prefer. What's interesting is that when these are at max brightness, what I've recorded is that they are taking around 1.2 watts. So these have no batteries on them, meaning that any power that comes to power these devices is going to be coming from the host device, the Steam Deck. And we're going to be talking about that later on as well as battery considerations. So at max brightness, we're looking at 1.2 watts. At lowest brightness, it's like 1 watt, 1.1 watt. So the difference between lowest brightness and max brightness is practically nothing. So I just have been using maximum brightness on this, and it's really nice. So that's a big improvement as well over the predecessors. Those are things that I can clearly say are big game changers from the previous model. The next thing that we're going to talk about here, and this is probably part of the new panel as well, is that on the Viture Pro glasses, they have fixed the blurry edges on the corners. That was something that I had mentioned in my preview as well as my review, and this has now completely fixed it. Previously, I had used different nose guards and different diopter adjustments to kind of tune that in, to kind of reduce that blurriness as much as possible. With these new Pro versions and the diopters that are on here, this is my favorite set of XR glasses. With these diopter adjustments, I don't even really need the prescription glasses that you could get on the previous model. Because the form factor is pretty much the same, these prescription glasses just work on the Pro models as they did on the predecessor. So if you had the prescription, those will still just kind of magnetize on like the previous did as well. However, with the diopter adjustments on these new displays, I kind of don't even need my glasses or those prescription lenses to see clearly through this. So that's really huge for me just from that angle alone. That's probably the biggest thing that I love about these Pro XR glasses. And the last thing to talk about, and this is something that has been on the Viture ones for a while, is they have that electrochromic display. So if you press a button, it'll clear the lens so that you can see through. And then you can press another button and it'll kind of shade it all out. What's really cool here is that either shading it all out or going, transparent doesn't really cost much power. It's an initial charge. It's like a voltage change. And then outside of that, there really isn't any particular cost in terms of power one way or the other. So that's really cool that they've always had them and they continue to have them in these particular glasses, meaning that you don't need those light blockers that are going to be available from competitors. These are kind of self-contained, and a feature that I really love that they're on here. And the very last thing that we should talk about with the Pro models is they do have spatial capabilities, meaning that with their Spacewalker app, you can actually move the glasses around and a virtual screen will be in place spatially. So you could just look around where you are and not have the screen always cemented to your eyes. So they have a MacBook app for the Spacewalker app for Mac exists already, where you'll be able to have the MacBook, and then you could look around your MacBook and have additional displays around your MacBook. There is a Windows app that's coming soon. I don't use Mac myself, so unfortunately I can't really use that there. There is the Spacewalker app for Android, and when I show you the video of it moving, that is actually being recorded from my Android phone, just to show you the spatial awareness does work on the glasses. So when the Windows version of that does come out, they'll be pretty feature complete with iOS, Android, Mac OS, and Windows support, covering pretty much every major operating system, which is really cool. And then you'll be able to have those virtual screens. That's pretty cool from a productivity standpoint. If you have like a single laptop and you wanted to have multiple displays, that is one cool angle that I could honestly say that these XR glasses desperately need, because for all intents and purposes, and again, we'll talk about this at the end, these are really luxury for an entertainment purpose, first and foremost. The productivity side is still getting developed, and it's not really there yet. It's coming. On the MacBook side, I know a lot of people have it and love it, and having the multiple displays that they have, that's really cool. But right now, until it has full feature for every operating system, we can't really talk about it all that much. The next thing that we should be talking about, and this is really kind of important, when you think about handhelds like the Asus RG Ally or the Steam Deck or even the Switch, all of these only have one USB-C port. meaning that if you were to plug the Viture ones directly into the only USB-C port on the device itself, you can't charge the device at the same time somewhere else. So not only is the battery powering whatever is going on here, whatever game you're playing, but the glasses themselves will be vampirically sucking power out of the battery to power the glasses as well, up to 1.2 watts. Let me give you guys a quick hypothetical here. On the Asus ROG Ally, let's say that we were playing an indie game and we managed to get this down to 5 watts total system power to play. What that would mean to you is that we can get 8 hours of gameplay on the 40 watt-hour battery. However, if we plugged in the Viture ones and we were now taking 6.2 watts total system power, we would have less than 6.5 hours of battery life, somewhere around like 6 hours and 20 minutes. So you lost an hour and 40 minutes of battery life by plugging in the Viture ones, and you had no ability to actually plug into the device because the USB-C port that is connecting these is being occupied by the glasses, and you have no other way to power the Asus ROG Ally or a Steam Deck or a Switch. So in those particular situations, you really do need the mobile dock on this. And then if you need the mobile dock, then you're going to need the case that wraps around the Steam Deck or Switch. I don't know if they have one for an Asus ROG Ally. I assume they would. But right now on a Steam Deck or a Switch, you can get the plastic that goes around the Steam Deck and then the battery inserts here. Now, you could do other things. The battery is cool because it has additional features. Not only does it handle all the display stuff and now do 3D on the Pro version of this, but you can support up to 2 Viture glasses as well. That's cool and all, but I just don't see that like conceptually happening anywhere. Like they have promotional video of it, and all the wires going all over the place is something that I just generally don't think is going to be something that anyone would do. I really still see these as a luxury device, as a personal entertainment privacy portal. So from that angle, the battery really is necessary on the Steam Deck, the Switch, and the Asus ROG Ally, just so you can charge the device as well as use the Viture One glasses at the same time. So that's a consideration that you really have to think about. And the last bit that I want to be talking about is, can I even recommend these? Yes, these are the best XR glasses that I have used to date. The main reason being is that the prescription add-on glasses that I needed for the predecessors, I don't need for these new displays with the diopter adjustment. I don't need my glasses. I can just put them on and I can see clearly. That alone is huge for me insofar as all the other XR glasses, and it has every other feature there. Bigger displays, 120 Hz refresh rate, still 1080p, super bright. It's excellent. These are excellent, excellent displays. However, that being said, where are you going to use this? All of these devices and all these accessories are costly. So you have to think about this as a luxury item. They are great to use in bed, but are you going to use it on your couch because your family is occupying the TV? If you already have a handheld that already has a display on it, do you really need those? While laying down in bed, that is a perfect use case because it's the most comfortable way to play in bed. Maybe you're going to be going on airline trips a whole bunch. That is another use case. If you're traveling around about, commuting about on a bus, train, wherever, and you feel comfortable and safe to be using those, that is another avenue. But that's a lifestyle decision of like, is this going to fit in your lifestyle? I don't know. That's a question that you're going to have to answer. Thank you very much to my YouTube channel members as well as my Patreon members. Your support really means the world to me. I hope this video was informative. As always, guys, thank you for your time, and thanks for watching.